What's up, y'all? It's been a minute since I've done one of these car talks, or really even a talk at all. But I had a common theme come up with a few of my clients today, and so I thought I'd share. It's really powerful, this idea that I think everybody can take some benefit away from hearing this. So let me say this phrase out loud. So set your small goals and let big goals happen. And so here's what I mean by that. You, in this moment, are never going to be able to conceive your own potential and what you're capable of. If I look at any of my greatest achievements, not that I'm some amazing person, but I got a bachelor's degree, I got a master's degree, I even went on and got a graduate certificate. I've joined the Air Force, I run marathons, I'm lifting heavy weights. All these things, if you pick a point on the timeline of my life, there's always a point where all of those sounded impossible, if not ridiculous, right? Definitely if you asked high school me if I would have, multiple graduate degrees, I would have been like, no, that's crazy. I hate school. I'm not even sure if I can do college, let alone all that. Hell no. I'm never going to be that person. If you asked me if I was going to run a marathon, let alone 6, let alone one on the Great Wall of China, I would have been like, no, that's not who I am. I'm not going to do that. And I hear this from my clients. I'm never going to be the guy who wakes up early in the morning. I'm never going to be the guy who runs 5 miles a day. I'm never going to be the guy who squats heavy weight. I'm never going to be the woman with the flat belly, whatever this thing is, right? And my message is, don't write your story now. Don't write the whole story now. Don't write the ending. Just, write the intro, write chapter 1. Just pick a goal that moves you in a direction and let the big goals come to you, because you're never going to know what you're going to be ready for after you achieve those small little goals. My first year out of high school, I was about 2 years out. I was 19 years old. I worked for Pepsi, and I drank a lot of Pepsi that year. I also drank a lot of beer that year. And aside from the fact that I was having all kinds of blood sugar issues that I thought were mental issues, I didn't really understand how blood sugar worked. I would be high one moment, crashing the next. I thought I had a mental disorder. It was just literally just blood sugar. But I also gained weight. If you drink, a liter of Pepsi a day and eat I had to report to the warehouse in the morning, and I would get my breakfast was a 20-ounce Pepsi and a Bear Claw I would get it for a nickel. They had basically free vending machines in there. 19 years old, and that was usually showing up hungover after drinking with my college buddies. So as you can imagine, I packed on shit, probably more than that freshman 15, even though I was not in school at the time. And eventually I realized that soda wasn't the best thing for me. At some point I woke up to that, and I thought, all right, I'm going to try and quit. It wasn't an easy thing, but I had a lot of willpower and some other positive things in my life, and so I gave up soda. And oddly enough, I almost immediately lost 30 pounds. I was like, oh wow, I lost 30 pounds. And I remember when I was a soda drinker, a few times I would walk to my buddy's house in the neighborhood, and I remember the one time I tried to run, and I had the worst side stitch ever, just running a block. And I'm sure if at that point in time you asked me, are you going to run a marathon someday, I would have been like, bro, like, I just got a side stitch running 40 feet. Like, I don't think so. But, you know, I lost that weight, and I felt confident enough in my body to get a job in a restaurant that was very physical. I also, worked as a golf caddy that was very physical. And those weren't goals per se, but they allowed me, when the time came, to feel confident to think that maybe I could join the military, because those activities kept me fit. And, they wanted to see how I could do, and on the fitness test, and we went out with the recruiters, and I ran 1.5 miles, and it hurt, man. My legs were burning, my lungs were burning, but they were like, hey, that was actually pretty good. Well, now I kind of understand that so much of America is just so completely out of shape that pretty good was kind of relative. But that gave me confidence. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can not only get into the military, maybe I can be like pretty good at it, as if that's a thing. But I was young. That was the mindset. And so I joined the Air Force, and I did really great basic training, and I was like, hey, I want to be able to get 100 on the PT test. And I worked really hard at it, and I did, okay? And I remember during basic training, they're like, hey, surprise, we're doing a 5K today. I was like, fuck. Like, no, I'm not. 3 miles? Like, the PT test is 1.5 miles, right? I was training so hard to be able to do this 1.5 miles really well. And now all of a sudden, it's like in the middle of base training, we're going to go double, and there was like a race on base. So anyway, I'm like all gung-ho in basic training, and I go out and I just run as hard as I can. And I did pretty good. I think I got like 24 minutes, and then we had to march back a couple miles, and my calves completely locked up, and I was limping, and getting the flight in trouble because I was out of step, and they were yelling at me. I'm like, no, my calves are locking, drill sergeant. Anyhow, so anyway, at that time, if you still would have asked me, like, will you do a marathon? I'm like, nah, buddy, I don't think so. But I did think now I could do 3 miles. And when I got to tech school, I thought, I wonder how far I can go. And I remember one day, I went out and I was like, I'm going to see what I can. I'm going to run for an hour and see what I can do. And I ran 7 miles, and it was like, I actually, afterwards, it was such an unknown territory that I was actually like worried. It was, I don't know if it was an anxiety attack, but I was like, I had a little diarrhea, which is probably some dehydration, some poor nutrition. I was not very good with all this yet. And I didn't know. I was like, am I going to be okay? Like, I just ran 7 miles. Like, am I going to should I go to the hospital? Like, should I just felt really bad. And it was like, I was worried that maybe I had hurt myself. And then I was fine. And then, I got orders to Hanscom Air Force Base, Massachusetts, near Boston. I was like, and finally one day I was like, Boston Marathon. You know what? Maybe I can, right? Maybe I can. And I never did qualify for the Boston Marathon, but I went and did the Air Force Marathon. I did the Marine Corps a few times. But the point is, it was all building, and never at any point along my journey did I think I was going to do the thing until it was time to do the thing. I mean, it was only 16 weeks before thinking I could do a marathon, and then I trained and did it, right? And so that's my idea that I want to get across to people, right? Don't write your whole story now. Don't wake up and say, I'm never going to be the guy who... It's about being present, right? Just head a direction. Just be on that journey, on that fitness journey, on that strength journey, on that health journey, and just kind of let it take you. Let it take you. You never know what you're going to be up for at that next level. You know, you never, once you lose 30 pounds, you don't understand how you're going to feel and what you're going to be up for next. When you do 10,000 reps of squats after a year of training, 300 pounds won't sound as crazy when you get there. Everything sounds crazy at the start line. I hope that makes sense. Don't write your whole story right now. Just head a direction. All right. Peace.